Alright, so earlier this week I was flipping through my Netflix and this documentary popped up that was about the gut. And as someone who makes content about nutrition and food, I thought, okay, cool, like those topics overlap, let's check it out. And I was especially interested because I feel like I've read so much recently about the gut and the microbiome and how it's all linked. And I was just curious to see what they would say about it. I wanted to see if they were gonna talk about fiber, which as we know is the real nutrient that people aren't getting enough of. But yeah, I thought this documentary was terrible. Or I just had some really big problems with it. Like, how did y'all fumble the bag so bad? Don't get me wrong, there's a couple things that I did like, but yeah, overall I wasn't a fan. And let me start by saying the setup is actually really good. It follows 4 people, some of whom have very relatable food-related problems. Like one woman struggles with disordered eating, one woman can't lose weight no matter what she eats, another one's extremely sensitive to certain foods, and another one is an ex-competitive hot dog eater who just doesn't ever feel hungry anymore. And watching this documentary, I really felt for these people because people's relationship with food can be very complicated. Eating is an amazing part of life, and these people were struggling with that. And they had some experts on who were talking about how we're starting to understand more and more the gut and the microbiome, you know, how it's all connected, even with the brain, your mood. Like, really interesting stuff, honestly. They also talk about all the different bacteria we have in our guts, which I've definitely read about. Like, I'm pretty sure Dr. Michael Greger talks about it in his book, How Not to Diet, which is a great book, highly recommend it, link in the description. And I was happy to see that they did mention fiber in the documentary, and surprise how Americans do not get enough of it. They were saying that the recommendation on average is something like 28 grams of fiber to 40 grams of fiber a day, and how Americans on average get only 15 grams a day. So way below the recommendation. And they even talked about how we evolved getting so much more fiber in our diets. So it's really a key nutrient that a lot of us are missing today. And I mean, it makes sense. Processed foods and animal products have no fiber, and those have become a huge part of our diets. I mean, a study just came out last week that analyzed some older populations, and it found that they weren't really eating that much meat. But yeah, that's basically where the good stuff ends. I've got some serious problems with the rest of it. Like, there's no real great takeaway in the documentary. They spend a lot of time talking about fecal matter transplants, which is what it sounds like. Which was interesting, but honestly, the only real concrete takeaway they gave was to eat more fruits and veggies for fiber. Like, they were saying to count your fruits and veggies, try to get from 20 to 30 a week. But that's not good advice for getting fiber. And if the point is to eat healthier, telling people to eat fruits and veggies is the exact messaging that we've had for God knows how long. And it's clearly not that effective, considering we've been eating like shit for the last few decades. And like I said, it's not even the best advice. Those aren't even good sources of fiber. Like, tell people to eat whole grains, beans. That's where the fiber is. Alright y'all, so what's up? Welcome to my kitchen. So I just want to show y'all how absurd some of these recommendations are. Is there a lot of echo in here? Because like, I feel like I can hear the echo. Alright, I'm gonna open the window. Let's see if that makes it better. Alright, we'll see. Maybe that helps, I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna do a lot of generalizing here, but it's just for the sake of the example. Okay, so they say to eat from 20 to 30 fruits and veggies a week. So that means around 3 or 4 extra fruits or veggies a day. Alright, so this carrot, for example, this is about 90 grams. It's got approximately 2.5 grams of fiber in it. So if you eat 3 of these in a day, that would be 7.5 extra grams of fiber a day. So if you take that 15 grams average that Americans get, and you add 7.5 to that, you get 22.5 grams, which is still under the 28 grams minimum. But I don't know about y'all, but I feel like it would be a little bit hard, or at least like something to think about, to try to get 3 or 4 of these in a day, versus how easy it is to eat 1 can of beans. Like, 1 can of beans can have up to 32 grams of fiber. Like, that's almost the equivalent of 13 carrots in 1 can. So with just 2-3 cans of beans a week, you could hit their entire fiber recommendation. Or another good option, some oats, some chia seeds. Like here, you can make some oatmeal with a cup of oats, some chia seeds, some blueberries, and bam, that's almost 20 grams of fiber. You've just had more fiber in 1 meal than the average American has in a day. Come on, the blueberries are just a fraction of that. So it's not the fruits and the vegetables where the fiber is coming from. Or here's another meal idea. Replace your pasta once or twice a week with Banza pasta or any legume-based pasta. Bam, that's 20 grams of fiber right there. And obviously fruits and veggies are amazing for you, and we should eat a variety of them. But if we are looking for fiber, there are just so many more places to find them. Like, that's not where fruits shine. And I'm tired of pretending that it is. I don't know, it's like in the US, people are so afraid to tell people to eat whole grains and legumes. Like, I don't get it, honestly. And like with anything, I'm not saying to just eat beans or legumes for fiber. You should eat a whole diverse array of foods for different types of fibers. I'm just making the point that it's so easy to hit fiber targets with beans or any types of legumes or whole grains. Plus, when it comes to beans, they're not just high in fiber, they're high in protein, they're high in iron, they're super filling, they're really cheap, they're linked to living a really long time. And I'm not an expert, but the combination of all those factors probably contributes to that. So yeah, I'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Heinz. I'm just kidding. You can actually check out this video where I quiz people about the environmental and health impacts of beans. And honestly, like, these foods are so much more appetizing, at least for me. Like, I want to eat pasta. Like, I want to eat a really good oatmeal. I'm not always jumping up and down at the thought of eating, you know, celery. And I'm not saying like fruits and vegetables aren't tasty. Like obviously you can make them tasty, especially fruits like already come tasty. My point is there's a lot of food out there with a lot of fiber that people already love to eat. Well, anyways, so have you all ever heard of the Hispanic paradox? So again, Dr. Michael Greger talks about it in one of his books, but essentially it's basically the paradox that Hispanic Americans tend to live a lot longer than they should based on their socioeconomic status and their access to healthcare in the US. And some people think it's because of bean consumption in the Hispanic population. But yeah, y'all, eat beans. It really is that simple. Or, you know, chickpeas, lentils, all the legumes. Oh, and also they do mention this in the doc, which is useful to know. If you boost your intake of fiber all at once, it can be painful. I would know. When I first started eating a lot more fiber, like my stomach would hurt, my farts would stink. But if you want to avoid that, you just have to increase your intake at a reasonable rate. So yeah, don't just start eating 80 grams of fiber a day. Now I eat a ton of fiber, no problem. Now my farts just smell the normal amount. But anyways, going back to their messaging in the documentary, it just felt like they couldn't even get that straight. Like they talk about how a hot dog has no fiber, which is true. But then in another part, they make it seem like pork is good for the gut, even though it has no fiber. And it's like, I thought y'all were trying to get people to eat more fiber. Or another problem I had is at one point, this girl is making this really complicated green smoothie. Like she's coming straight from the supermarket with this bag full of vegetables. And I just get annoyed when they make it seem like you have to shop at Whole Foods to eat healthy or get enough fiber. We know that's not true at all. You can get a ton of fiber just from beans, for example. That's Walmart. So even if you have access to a Walmart, you have pretty good options. And it also annoys me when they make it seem like you either have to enjoy your food or eat healthy. Like there's no in between. Because that smoothie looked disgusting. They did show some good food, but at one point they said, yeah, you can eat rice and veggies as a meal. And it's like, dude, that is not a good meal. That will never be a good meal. Like, tell people to eat avocado on whole wheat toast, or hummus, or lentil pasta, or baked beans, or a bean burrito. And like I mentioned earlier, even chia seeds are super high in fiber. Almonds, seeds, nuts. All these different foods are chock full of fiber. And you know, they're actually satiating bulky foods, not like vegetables and rice. Damn, this makes me want to do a fiber tier list. But anyways, y'all, yeah, so those were my thoughts on the documentary. Yeah, if you watched it, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I thought they had good intentions, but they just didn't really do a great job delivering the message. I don't really think it's gonna like change the way people behave or anything. But anyways, as usual, I want to thank all my patrons and channel members. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so for just $1 a month. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to eat your legumes, obviously, and take your B12 supplement. All right, see y'all.